Heroism of the Heart by r0wlets. Summary: before Cynthia sets off to stop Team Galactic, Diantha spends the night with her. In contrast to the large, opulent grandeur that Kalos often boasted, Sinnoh was a quiet, humble region. Even the Valor Lakefront, one of Sinnoh's most renowned and luxurious tourist spots, would be just a blip in comparison to even one of Lumio City's budget hotels. Continental breakfasts were made up of the essentials: eggs, bacon, coffee, cereal, and a few extra luxuries like flavored creamer and fresh danishes. The beds, too, were perhaps half the size of luxury Kalosian ones, and even the finest hotel rooms were about the size of a Kalosian bathroom. Diantha would throw away all of her luxuries in the world if it meant they could stay in this room one more night. Tomorrow, Cynthia would fly out to Mount Coronet to aid in the fight against Team Galactic, and no one knew if she'd come back in one piece. If the rumors of the third entity, Giratina, in the alternate dimension were true, then there was the real possibility that she, Cyrus, and the young trainer would never come back, lost to this nameless dimension of space and time forever. It was the middle of the night. Diantha sat up, leaning over to hold and appreciate Cynthia's nude body. Her long blonde hair, her small but perky breast, her small stomach rolls that swayed ever so slightly when she breathed. Or snored, rather. For all the energy Cynthia had during the day, she sure was not stopped by something as menial as sleep, occasionally kicking Diantha's side. Drool dribbled from her lips onto her chin, which meant that her appetite was in full gear as well. Slowly, Diantha stroked her fingers over the creases in Cynthia's forehead, wishing that they could stay like this forever. For when Cynthia set off for Mount Coronet, even if she came back and the Team Galactic situation was resolved without any bloodshed, their busy schedules would still prevent them from seeing each other in person for months. One champion's strenuous life was packed enough. With two champions, not to mention Diantha's body and acting career, it was usually next to impossible for them to meet like this. Justice was hard to administer, even more so when one kept their integrity intact. For Cynthia, who had grown up with and had been childhood friends with Cyrus, it must have been devastating to prepare to face off against him. Yet, Diantha knew all too well that being the champion meant more than just battling or partaking in contests. It meant to help serve the community, to be a good example for the next generation. Even if the police could take on this case without any help, however, Cynthia would have still volunteered herself to the cause because she was that selfless. It was one of the many reasons why Diantha had fallen in love with her. Gray eyes stared and stared up at her. Diantha leaned over and kissed her forehead. "Go back to sleep, Prince," she said. "It's still nighttime." You're still up?" "Not for much longer." "You're still worried about me, huh?" In an instant, Cynthia sat up and wrapped her arms around Diantha, so now the latter was the little spoon. Diantha burrowed her face against her shoulder, kissing it, savoring the familiar scent of minerals and earthy shampoo. They sat like that for a few moments, not saying anything, until Cynthia's chuckling ruined the mood. "It's not funny." "Oh, sure it is," Cynthia replied, turning up her lips in an awkward smile. "All that talk about wanting to save the world as a kid's finally coming up to fruition. I'm becoming everyone's hero." "But do you even want to?" Diantha pressed, curling her smaller hand around Cynthia's larger one. She was selfless, yes, but she was also so reckless sometimes. People often confused this for stupidity and therefore didn't take Cynthia seriously. But who else would be there for them in times of crisis? Who else would save Sinnoh if not for Cynthia and the young trainer? She was taken aback when Cynthia finally said, "I want to be a hero for you." Tears clouded Diantha's vision. She refused to look at her girlfriend, at those big, innocent gray eyes, at that smile that constantly reassured her that everything would be okay. "I don't want you to be a hero for me, though," she sobbed. "You do so much for me, for this country. I don't want anything to happen to you. I want you to be safe." "Diantha." Still, Diantha refused to look at her, but she gently moaned as their lips touched, their hands intertwining. Panic rose up in her as she realized everything she risked losing, and would continue losing as long as they were both still champions. She nudged against her face into Cynthia's touch, allowing the blonde to brush the tears away from her face. Diantha, don't worry about me. I'll be with my friends, and that's way better than just facing Team Galactic on my own. I'll be fine. Besides, a mischievous glint sparkled in her eyes. If we meet any of the legendaries, I'll have plenty of stories to tell Grandma. She'd be jealous, you know. Do I ever? Cynthia grinned, stroking her thumb alongside Diantha's cheek. I know you're a lot newer to this than me, babe, and I know not all champions risk their lives at the slightest call of trouble. Just the stupid ones, Diantha chuckled between tears. Just the stupid ones, but I'm practically indestructible by now, and I promise to you that I'll bring us all back alive, not as a champion, but as me. Deal? She stuck out her pinky. Diantha linked it with hers and kissed them. Deal. She savored every touch, every kiss that Cynthia gave her after that, her dark hair sweeping over her shoulders as they took to another round of making love. When they were finished, once again, she was the last one awake, and worry welled within her once more. The only difference from earlier was that now resentment welled up beside her worries. Although she was a fellow champion, Diantha wasn't sure if she could ever be as courageous as Cynthia. If it was up to her to make the decision to save the world, she wasn't sure if she'd be able to do the same. Moonlight shone through the windows and she cried again. Tomorrow, she would be the perfect girlfriend and see her lover off. Tonight, she would only play herself, with all of her fears intact until she could, once again, be in Cynthia's embrace.